Broadcasting from the Blanchardstown Centre, this is Phoenix FM.
This is 92.5 Phoenix FM, community radio for Dublin 15.
Hey everybody, it's JB Jeremy Borash, and you are listening to Darrow O'Connor.
Yo, what's going on? It's Leon Slater, and you are listening to Darrow O'Connor on the Wrestling Rewind. You get me?
This is Impact Wrestling superstar Cowboy James Storm.
This is Jeff Jarrett, the King of the Mountain.
I'm Tom Hannafin from TNA Wrestling. You're listening to the Wrestling Rewind.
And if you're not, sorry about your damn luck.
The Wrestling Rewind, the only wrestling podcast by fans who don't hate wrestling.
Hello folks, it is Tuesday here on Phoenix 92.5 FM, the only wrestling podcast by fans who don't hate wrestling. My name is Darrow O'Connor, and I'm joined by the one, the only Mr. Christopher Fanning. Christopher, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. It's my birthday. Yay.
Happy birthday, sir. Happy birthday.
Thank you, sir.
A strange week. We're 8 days recording this from Elimination Chamber. I tasked you with a time machine, a journey back to the original Elimination Chamber, which we'll get to at the end of the show. And now the card is starting to take a bit more shape. It's definitely a show. And you know, AJ Lee's come back. CM Punk is back. Christopher, it's a CM Punk bonanza from Chicago in about 8 days. So a lot to talk about there. But let's start things off with something that we don't normally do. When you joined the podcast, and even for the first couple of weeks, we were kind of expecting Chris Jericho, right? Even up until the Royal Rumble, we were still like, yeah, Chris Jericho's coming. It's like that bit in The Simpsons, you know. Krusty is coming. So we now know why Chris Jericho actually might not only be not coming, but it could be a long time before he's actually in WWE.
Yep.
It appears that his contract, or some of it, has been frozen. Now, this was broken by multiple different outlets. It seems that not only has his contract been frozen, but there's time tacked on to it, and basically it means that he has to wait it out. Now, we don't know how long this is for, and the belief is that it happened in midway through 2025, so he could go off and do some Fozzy shows or do the cruise or whatever. But yeah, that's why he hasn't shown up yet. And there were different rumors, different reports that he had no interest going back to AEW, or that there was an offer made to him to stay in AEW, and apparently he doesn't want to do that. So we also got a different story from Jericho that he's working on different non-wrestling projects. But either way, this is a bad look for not only for Tony Khan and AEW, but also for WWE. I think both sides here look really bad, because kind of promised Chris Jericho, and you're like, oh, Dara, how did they promise Chris Jericho? They literally ran clips of his debut against The Rock a couple of weeks before the Royal Rumble, and he heavily implied it was Jericho.
Yep.
Not a great thing to do. This comes off very much like the Andrade thing, where he was released from WWE, went to AEW, wasn't allowed to be in AEW because his contract was still active, and then he had to pull him, and now he's back in AEW. So this is very, very sloppy from everyone involved. What do you think about this?
You know, I think it's sour grapes on AEW's side. You know, they know he's not coming back to their product, so they're like, well, it's the Andrade situation reversed. Because when Andrade left WWE, they're like, oh, well, we have this clause that says you can't compete for however many days. I mean, he did it anyway. Then he came back later. But I think it's just the same thing in reverse. It's AEW going, you can't have him until we're done. And it makes everybody really look bad. You know, it's been teased, it's been promised. There was a package on Raw that we saw that people are saying it's Chris Jericho. So it's making everybody look bad on both sides.
Yeah, like the Andrade thing is less bad, and it just makes everyone look silly, and petty. But the Jericho thing is specifically bad because he was a legend. in AEW. He's like the guy that gave that company legitimacy.
Yep.
Like, if it wasn't for Chris Jericho, and look, I know there's a bunch of AEW fans that check the show out. I don't hate the product at all. It's not really for me all the time. Some stuff they do is great, some stuff not so much. But have to call a spade here. If it wasn't for Chris Jericho, I don't believe AEW would have got off the ground, particularly in those first year, 2 years. The champion thing was great. There's a reason that the belt was put on him immediately, right? Yep. He was the guy. And it's just like, how much more value do you want from him? I mean, like, look, I've even said that Jericho shouldn't have been in Ring of Honor as the champion. He should have moved on a long time ago. You know, he's not past it, but he's not a young man anymore.
No.
And, you know, a final run in WWE makes sense where he can, you know, end his career in his terms and get the Hall of Fame. And that's kind of it. So I don't really see what AEW gains from this other than just looking really, really, really petty. But as you said, Andrade had the same thing happen to him, so maybe it's tit for tat, right? And we can't really be mad at them for that because it's like, well, fair enough. If that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. But I was just disappointed when I saw that. I was like, come on, again, this is what you think they would have learned, but the more things change, the more they change the same. But had to get it out of the way, top of the show, because it is something that we've actively had interest in, and if it changes, we'll let you guys know as well. Okay, so look, TNA don't get off easy on this as well. So I love TNA, and I really do. Friend of the show, etc. But I hate when they do stupid you know what like this sometimes. This is the same company that had like the reverse ladder match, which I like King of the Mountain, but it is kind of goofy. They have the Feast of Fire match, which I do like, but it's kind of goofy. But I think they've outdone themselves now with this one. It's a guitar case casket match.
Oh, jeez.
Right? And look, by the time we're taping this, it's already happened, so I haven't seen it yet. It was from the February 19th episode of Impact, so it's literally happening probably in a couple of hours, in about an hour from you, Christopher. That's when it's going to be on. So, you know, I think we'll have a look at it and review it next week. But I'm just puzzled and bemused that. Okay, some context. You remember what's it? Walk with Elias. Remember Elias from
Yes,
WWE?
I do. Yes.
Yeah, he's now Elijah. Oh. He's doing the same gimmick in TNA, and he's feuding with Mustafa Ali, right? And that's how this whole thing happened. But I have so many questions about how this is going to look. So I'm assuming, and again, we don't know what this is like. We haven't seen it. Is it going to be a big guitar case, or is it going to be a casket in the shape of a guitar case?
I mean, anything's possible. I mean, are, the Honky Tonk Man and Jeff Jarrett going to be there too? I mean, other two gimmicks that had guitars, those are the first two that come to my mind. Yeah,
I think Jeff Jarrett is still under contract with AEW. But the Honky Tonk Man probably needs a payday, so that could happen. But oh man, look, the Elias thing, that's well past its sell by date. I'll be honest with you. I liked it initially. I thought it was kind of funny, but TNA, you're heartbreaking, because the rest of the card actually looks pretty good. They have some pretty good matches lined up, and then they have this, and it's just like, okay. Now, it could be great. I don't know, but I saw that, and I was like, I have to get some kind of prediction out on this. And it's just like, yikes. That's all I can say. Yikes. Guys, what do you think? Were you a fan of this? Did you check it out? Let us know in the comments below. But yeah, okay. So on to WWE this week. We had a pretty good Raw, actually. It wasn't from a match standpoint, it wasn't really that great, but we got a lot of movement, and this is Yeah, we're a couple of weeks out from WrestleMania. I don't know if you saw this or not, but WWE are slashing prices for WrestleMania now. It's like 25% off for a lot of this week, which is, again, it's their own fault. We talked about this last week where they're just charging too much. So WWE now seem to be on panic mode. Apparently, they have changed a lot of WrestleMania. It was supposed to be very straightforward. It's supposed to be Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. That was supposed to be your main event. Thank Christ we didn't get that. But they did break off into different matches, so they are still kind of there. But it seems like they have kind of flipped the switch on this. So I think in the next couple of weeks, we'll start seeing WrestleMania take shape. And again, like Raw really looks like that. It really looked like they were like, okay, we're actually going to build towards something. We're getting our Finn Balor push. I really enjoyed what they did with Finn.
Yeah.
Kind of filled out some of the chamber participants on the men and the women's side. And they're also building up this El Grande Americano feud where he's feuding with himself. I really enjoy that, I'm not going to lie. And look, we had some really cool stuff with AJ and Becky. So I'm going to give the floor to you, sir. Where do you want to start on Raw from last week?
I want to just say that JDB Dunn is finally back from his injury. We got to see him in his little Judgment Day versus a CM Punk, where Punk pretty much was like, you're not the same guy you were. Everything you did on your own. Now you got, he told JDB Dunn he's got a big head, and the crowd chanted bobblehead. I'm sorry, I had to walk away from it because I was laughing so hard. And you can actually see McDonough looking at Dom going, don't laugh at that. You can actually read his lips, and he says, don't laugh at that, which I thought was pretty funny.
He does have a big head. That is true.
I mean, I have a big head too, but I'm a big dude, so it kind of goes with the territory. But McDonough is like what, 5'8", 5'9"? He's not a big guy.
No, it's the proportions, I think. But the problem is now that will go either way. Either it will just kind of make for a cool moment, or it will follow him forever and it'll be his new watch ant.
Yep.
It's like, that's it. Like he his career has probably been sealed now by that one throwaway line.
I do think that the AJ versus Becky thing is too little too late. I'm going to talk about this on my podcast this weekend, but I feel like they should have done this after WrestlePalooza. I mean, I get they want to have a WrestleMania moment. I totally get that. But I just feel like this is being forced. Of course, we know that AJ is probably going to go over. Becky's going to take some time off because she's doing another season of Star Trek, Starfleet Academy. So I don't know. I just think that's too little too late. And then we had Stephanie Vicker calling out Liv Morgan during the Michael Cole interview. And for those that don't know Spanish, I don't either, but somebody translated it. And the subtext is pretty much, you haven't had to work for anything. Everything's been handed to you. And Liv didn't like that. That's why she started crying.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty harsh.
Yeah, but I see what Stephanie's trying to do. She's either trying to convince her to go after Jade, or she wants to fight her personally. So either tactic will work.
They have to add in some kind of spice, to these feuds, And if you're not going to do it going into WrestleMania season, why? When are you going to? And it kind of adds to a lot of what these reports were saying, where they did have this mapped out, and they seem to be looser with what they're doing. I definitely think this AJ Becky feud, you're right. They probably wanted to do this sooner. Probably didn't want to do it. Sorry, they should have done it sooner, but they probably didn't want to even do it now. But it is one of the marquee matches.
Yeah.
And it's one of the matches that could even open up WrestleMania. And that'd be a pretty good opener, to be fair.
Yeah.
But you can see that they were like, we have to have something big here. So they're going to push these women. They're going to push the guys to make it more real, make it more emotional when they do have their face off or have their matches. Because, look, they have to get those tickets sold somehow. And I don't know about you, but looking at the WrestleMania card so far, it's still quite barren. I still would go if it was cheaper, but at the moment, if I'm on the fence, a lot of other people are going to be on the fence here as well. So I say look towards the next couple of weeks. I think the Raw shows are getting better. I like when they go a bit harsh on the reality stuff or into the personal stuff, because it makes it feel a bit more like it's a real thing. They're not just reading lines off a promo, or they're not just, those big scripts. This is when WWE is at its strongest, when it's creating some kind of reason for you to care. That's why Dom is so popular. It's why people hate Gunther now, because they have a reason to hate Gunther. He keeps giving them reason to, and otherwise it just wouldn't matter. But another thing that we have to talk about before we move on from Raw: what is in the box? And for anyone that doesn't know, there's a box that was delivered, and it says "Do not open before Elimination Chamber." Basically, what's in the box? I'm putting you on the hot seat here, Christopher.
I honestly, I can't say what I said on Facebook that got me in trouble, because I don't want to get in trouble again. But I did see a comment on Facebook that was the best answer I had seen, is that they are going to change the Andre the Giant Memorial Tournament Battle Royale into the John Cena Battle Royale Tournament, and it's a trophy of that particular trophy, or that trophy. That's the best answer I can give at this point.
That's very disappointing, though. Okay. I mean, look, it's cool. It makes sense. But, man, that's pretty lame. I really hope it's not that.
Yeah, I do, too.
Like, it's WWE, again, over-promising and under-delivering. And, again, it's like they haven't really promised anything, but you're expecting something. I hope it isn't that. That's pretty lame.
Well, up until we found out about Jericho's contract being frozen, people were saying it's Chris Jericho. I'm like, why would you put him in a box?
Well, that's kind of happened before. I mean, Undertaker was in the box.
That's true.
Was in a box.
That's true.
Sting was in a box.
Oh, you know what? That's right. When they unveiled his statue, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Wow.
like I think it's like that's a really dumb way to do it, but at the same time, there's a lot of precedence for that. So
yeah,
we could see. But yeah, like I expected a little bit more going into this deep into Elimination Chamber build at the moment. We still have one slot on either side. They'll probably round it out at SmackDown tomorrow, and then we'll know where we're going. But let's do a bit of a preview here now while we have some time. Randy Orton, LA Knight, Cody Rhodes, Javon Evans in the men's undisputed WWE Championship match for WrestleMania 42. Who do you think's going to walk away with that?
There's two answers that I have. The one that I would like to have, and the one that if I was betting, I'd bet on this one. Cody's in the match, so he's probably going to win. I don't want to say that, but Cody can't get a rematch. So what better way to do it than win the chamber? Javon Evans has been growing on me. Now, do I think they're going to give him a title shot right out the gate? I don't think they will. I could see it happening down the road. But I think and I said this before when they did the Fatal 4-Way for Drew at the Rumble, that I think it needs to be Randy Orton to help legitimize that run, to make it, worthy of him having it, be one of the best of all time. But I don't know. I just got this bad feeling that Cody Rhodes is going to win it. And yeah, I'm not happy about that.
Well, Drew released an interview there today, or just gone yesterday on Busted Open Radio, where he says he doesn't actually want to face Cody. He literally says anybody but Cody Rhodes.
Yep.
And it's just like, look, it's in character. That's fair enough. But at the same time, it's just like,
there might be some truth behind it too.
There's probably some truth behind it, yeah. And it's like, I don't have an appetite for that anyway. But like, yeah, you said Randy Orton. That makes sense. That's a WrestleMania main event for real. Mm-hmm. But if I was going with someone who actually could use spotlight, LA Knight.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, even if he loses, which of course he would, if he put in a good performance at WrestleMania against Drew, I mean, he's already a star, but that would just cement it, would it not?
Yeah,
Like,
it would. Yeah.
I don't know what, and you'll very rarely hear me badmouthing Triple H, but I don't know what he has against LA Knight. Like, it's
I don't get it
can't
either.
get a break.
I don't get it either. It's he's a better version of Jey Uso. He's over with the crowd. He's got a couple catchphrases in his pocket. You know, people love the guy, but yet he can't seem to grab. And I hate to use a Vince analogy here, but he can't seem to grab that brass ring. And
I don't even think that he fails to grab it, man. I don't think it's given to him.
Yeah, but yeah, we're giving people like Cody every opportunity.
Like, they're talking about, like, look, I can, if you were to come at me and go, look, LA Knight isn't the WrestleMania main eventer yet at the moment. Yeah, I'll be like, okay, fair enough. At this moment, he's probably not. But how you get him to be a WrestleMania main eventer is you give him the opportunity.
Yep.
And, you know, him, even in there with Randy, that'd be pretty cool. A triple threat match, have LA Knight eat the pin, or have him win with Orton taking the pin. It's like, there's a way to creatively do this, but I think you're right. The smart money, if you're a betting man, bet on Cody, because, you know, that's what they're going to do. But I would love to be surprised with anything else. Javon Evans, no, he's too
fresh,
too young,
and too fresh.
He's too fresh. Like, look, it's pretty cool that he's in there anyway, but the role he has in this Elimination Chamber is very much like the match we'll talk about in a few minutes. It's the RVD spot, you know, where he's going to go in, do the flippies, look really good, and then be eliminated. You know, that's what's going to happen. So, yeah, I think again, to quote Drew McIntyre, if we get anybody but Cody, that'd be a much better WrestleMania than Cody Rhodes winning, because, you know, it gets to a situation we talked about last week, which we don't want to end up there. But I think the women's match is a bit more interesting, to be honest with you. Tiffany Stratton, Rhea Ripley, Alexa Bliss, Asuka, and then obviously some more.
We have two more coming for each match.
Yeah, two more coming, which we don't know yet. So look, this is a bit more interesting because I do want to see Alexa Bliss win, but I don't think she will. It might be too early to give Rhea her slot, but we could have Asuka. I think Tiffy, is it going to be Tiff time again? Not so much.
Yeah. Even
though she's great. Smart money's on Asuka unless we have someone else who makes a bit more sense on SmackDown.
Yeah, I think my early pick right now would be either Alexa, which I'd like to see her win another title, but that could also cause a feud between her and Charlotte.
Exactly.
Which could break that tag team up fairly quickly. Or again, Asuka. I mean, but again, that could also cause tension with her and Kairi Sane on Raw.
I think that's what they want. They're building towards that.
Yeah.
I think that's your WrestleMania. I think that's your WrestleMania feud. Like your feud out of WrestleMania.
Yeah.
You know, like that's what they set up. Because it's like they've been building that up now for at least as long as Punk and Finn.
Yeah.
If not longer. Because on that same episode of Raw, Asuka chewed out Kairi Sane. So, you know, that makes sense. And then obviously the Royal Rumble as well. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think they're pretty safe picks. Then we have Becky Lynch versus AJ Lee for the WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship. This is a no-brainer.
Yeah.
AJ Lee's going to win this.
I don't agree. I don't agree with that.
Yeah.
I think I don't know. I think what's going to happen is Becky is going to find a way to cheat to keep the title, and they're going to put the title on AJ at WrestleMania. That's what they're going to do with that. Just because we're in Chicago, where AJ lives now with CM Punk, doesn't mean she's going to win.
Okay, we'll see. I mean, I can see this. I can see it either way. Yeah, I can see it either way. Where I'm coming from with this is not so much the Chicago thing. It's more like it's only the Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah.
You know, how long are they going to have someone who's, let's face it, a more than part-timer holding that belt when it's her retirement run? Call it whatever you want to call it. That's what it is. Yeah. And I love AJD. She's great, right? But this is her final run. I would be wanting to angle her towards the World Championship. And that's why I think getting this out of the way early would be what you want. But yeah, like, have Becky win and have Punk win, and then that way it balances out. So, but I don't know, man. This Chicago crowd is going to be very against Becky.
I think it'll be very hostile. I can guarantee that.
Absolutely. It'll be Cena and Punk all over again. But you know what match won't be hostile? That will probably just be straight down the middle, even though Punk will be the favorite here. It actually could look very much like Belfast all over again.
Yeah.
Punk and Finn Balor for the World Heavyweight Championship. Punk's obviously going to win this. But that's not what I want to ask you, Christopher. Do we see the Demon now, or do we see him at WrestleMania? And that's the real question here.
Here's what I've been thinking about this for a while. We're going to see the Demon at WrestleMania, but I think there's going to be something's going to happen in this match to where Finn is going to, not under his own issues, he's going to lose this match some way, and then he'll find a way either through Adam Pearce or whoever. They make the Roman Reigns CM Punk match a triple threat, and they insert Finn Balor into that match somehow. Something has to happen at this show next weekend for this to happen. And when that happens, Finn Balor's like, okay, all bets are off. The Demon is coming out. And he does. Mm-hmm. And I'll call it now, just like I did a year ago with the Cena heel turn. I think Finn Balor will win at WrestleMania. If this happens. If it doesn't, then okay, fine. I'm wrong. But I think we'll see it at WrestleMania.
I think what they need to do is, and I think that's a pretty good shout, to be fair. They have to make someone at WrestleMania. They have to make a few someones, to use a very poorly structured sentence. If they don't make their stars now, we're left with this very, very poor hand. This is a WrestleMania without Cena. This is a WrestleMania without AJ. And it's funny, you can kind of see these gaps already. Like, it's not a barren card by any stretch of the imagination, but you're getting your Javon Evans having like a proper slot. You know, we don't even know who's fully in the Elimination Chamber just yet because it's so kind of barren. Yeah, look, they have to start making people. And if you give Finn Balor a win on the grandest stage of them all against Roman Reigns and Punk, who's had a phenomenal run, that, come on.
And if that is the case, they're going to probably have Punk take the pin to keep Roman looking strong. That's probably how that's going to go.
It doesn't really matter who takes the pin. I mean, if Roman takes it, if he doesn't, it's fine. I mean, Roman is on his way out. He is a part-timer.
Yeah.
Punk's got about 2 years left, and they have to start looking at it in a way where it's just like, if they throw away the Demon now, if they bring back the Demon and they throw him away and he doesn't win, then he's going right back in the fridge again. It's like, you can't just use that card and not do something with it.
Yep,
and
agreed.
This is the first time we've really seen Finn get a push in a real way since he got hurt.
Yeah.
And look, I don't think he was punished because he got hurt. It's just, unfortunately,
he was forgotten.
When he got hurt, he was just forgotten. When he got hurt, he had clawed his way to the top of the mountain, and then by the time he was healed, he was at the bottom of the mountain again.
Yep.
So I think if they're going to give him that run, and if they're going to give him all that pomp and ceremony, it's not going to be thrown away just to lose. I can't see that. So yeah, we'll know. Like, he could shock us and could get a surprise win. I don't think that's likely, for a couple of reasons. But if the Demon walks out, he's probably going to win. But I do think that they want that WrestleMania moment. give Punk the big entrance, give Roman Reigns the big entrance, and the Demon comes out.
Yeah.
I think that's a very, very cool WrestleMania main event. Even though I'm not a huge fan of triple threat matches, in certain circumstances, to achieve this, it's a pretty good way to do it. But we'll keep an eye on it. We'll absolutely keep an eye on it here.
And keep in mind, he's been coming out to his old theme for the past couple of weeks.
Yep.
So that may be just, you know, them dropping little Easter eggs for what's to come.
And he's not necessarily a heel at the moment either.
No, he's not.
Like they're not. It's funny because they're not. Even though he is being kind of heelish, he's actually just being what Punk is. I really like this feud because he's not wrong, he's not right, but he is like Punk. You know, Punk is a tweener. He's shades of grey good guy in WWE, and that's kind of what Finn is as well. He's a shades of grey bad guy, where it's like people love him, they want to support him. He's in the Judgment Day, but most of the Judgment Day are almost faces now anyway.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting dynamic. That's what I'm trying to say.
He's Stone Cold.
Where does it go?
He's Stone Cold Steve Austin. Yeah.
You took the words out of my mouth. He's Stone Cold Steve Austin. Yeah. 1997, Stone Cold Steve Austin, just before he properly went face.
Yeah.
But that's what we have here, and like again, Punk doesn't really need the title. He's already a legend. He's had a phenomenal run with it, but in my opinion, that's the whole point of having a phenomenal run, that you've built the belt up and you give it to the next guy so he has an elevated belt now. And where else better to do it than at WrestleMania? Particularly somewhere that actually needs it. Yeah. And then Punk could chase it again and win it back at SummerSlam. I mean, it makes way more sense than giving it to Roman Reigns.
Ugh. Yuck.
And that's just sickening. I have nothing against Roman Reigns. I got to meet the Shield. I think I told the story before, but I got to meet the Shield very early on. Like they just debuted like a couple of months before, and I got to meet the three of them in Dublin. And they were honestly like the nicest guys ever. So I have nothing. I'm a big fan of the Shield. I even stuck with Roman through some of the nonsense that he was going through, but at the same time, he's had his time.
Yeah.
He doesn't need this.
I agree.
WWE desperately need new stars.
New blood, definitely.
Yeah, they really do. Like it's cool. You can kind of see in the undercard who they're pushing up, like Leon Slater popping up, Joe Hendry. You know, they're kind of rising. But if you don't swap out the top of this card here, it's death. You know, it really is. It's death for a lot of people watching this product, because it's going to get real boring. And look, we've never seen a Finn Balor title run.
No.
We don't know what that looks like.
We saw it for 24 hours. We saw it for a day. And then, here's the title. Got to go.
Yep. And I remember watching that and I was devastated.
I was too.
Like, oh, man. You know? So he's definitely due one. I mean, like, Kevin Owens got there. Bray Wyatt got there. And I can't see why they would build him up just to not do anything with it.
Yeah.
Particularly at a time when they don't really have anyone else. It is very much like, you know, I love that analogy where he said he's Stone Cold Steve Austin. How did that happen? Well, it happened because there was the void with the new generation, with HBK and Bret Hart, where, you know, it wasn't working and needed to change stuff out. This is when you get it. You know, Triple H, yeah, he's booking it, but he's also should know this from history. He was literally there.
Yep.
You know, and then that's what it feels like. You know, particularly with Cody and Roman both going off to do that Street Fighter movie. They're not gonna care.
No.
You know, they've already made their money, right? So we'll keep an eye on it. We're about 8 days out. Obviously, we have a couple more shows beforehand. We'll talk about it next week. But a lot of interesting questions that we have, guys. Let us know what you think in the comments below, because I'm very interested if we're off base or if we're not. But we're gonna hop in the time machine, sir. We're going back to November 2002, Madison Square Gardens, New York City. The 17th of November 2002, Survivor Series. So look, I had said, oh, we'll cover the first Elimination Chamber. I did mean the pay-per-view, and I was watching it, and I was like, oh my God, I feel so bad. This show is terrible. And then when you went on air, Christopher was like, oh, I just watched the match. I'm like, oh, thank God, now I don't feel so bad. Because I'll run through the show. And I know you had to look at the card beforehand, but my God, this was talk about a bleak time, and this is what we're talking about when we're, for newer fans who are listening to the show. This is what happens when you don't build out your card correctly. We don't build out your stars. You're left with either a top heavy card with nothing underneath it, or everything underneath it and nothing on top. Yep. And that's what happened with WCW. It really happened in ECW, but with WWE, they had the other side where their top card was way too top heavy, and the rest of it was just filled with like random nobodies. They didn't build the card out top to top. So it opens up pretty good. An Elimination Chamber tables match, which I haven't actually seen in a while. Like usually tables match, someone goes through it, that's it, or they'll have to, like the way WWE did it before, you'd have to put each member of the team through a table, but they'd still be active. This was interesting because they'd actually, like, when someone went through the table, they went to the back. And already I knew this was kind of ropey. You had Jeff Hardy and the Dudley Boys, not with Devon, because Devon was on a different show. Bubba Ray and Spike against 3 Minute Warning, which actually was Umaga, his first appearance. So I think Umaga was Rosie.
Yeah.
No, he was Jamal.
Oh.
Umaga was Jamal, and Rosie was his tag team partner with Rico. This match was 14 minutes of absolute hell, except for the last 2 minutes, which were actually pretty good. Matt Hardy runs out to Devon runs out. Basically, Bubba's the only one left. Devon, Bubba Ray to do the 3D and end up getting the win. Matt Hardy doesn't run out because Matt Hardy's a heel. We'll get to that in a second. But yeah, this show started off with a decent match, but you kind of knew that the cracks were forming. This wasn't the same WWE that we had 2 years ago.
Yeah.
With the infamous Royal Rumble, which had a much better table match, to be honest with you. I have to say, I love Madison Square Gardens for the little stage, where it just opens up and they come out in the middle and you get to see. I think that's a really, really cool presentation. I get why they don't do it, because you can't sell as many tickets and you don't get the big stage, but I think it just adds a bit of, I don't know, it makes it seem more intimate, where you have this tiny little stage that the lads are coming out to and they're just immediately there. I think Madison Square Gardens is a really cool arena for WWE, particularly for an event like this. Billy Kidman defeated Jamie Noble. My God, two guys who should have put on a great match didn't. 7 minutes of less hell, but Billy Kidman managed to beat Jamie Noble, and he struggled, and that's a sentence that you normally don't hear. Victoria defeated Trish Stratus for the Women's Championship in a rare hardcore match. There were only I think 5 women's hardcore matches from 1997 to 2003. The most infamous of these was actually Stephanie McMahon against Vince McMahon in a last man standing match. That's a brutal match. I don't know if you've ever seen that, Christopher. Have you seen that one?
I don't think I have. At least I don't remember it anyway.
That is a brutal, violent match. Actually, funny story with that one as well. They had the match, and then Stephanie got married 4 days later, and he had to cover up her black eye.
Oh my God.
Which, yeah, it's just man, you couldn't have booked it a bit before or after. You didn't have to book it immediately. So yeah, women didn't really have hardcore matches at this time. It wasn't something that was really done. Yeah. They weren't really involved in taking these spots, but it's a credit to Trish Stratus and Victoria, 2 women who just were all right, we're going to do it. The match itself is not bad. It's just not very good. Victoria was still green as grass. She would get a lot better in TNA, where she would actually expand out and become quite a good hand. But this is well before she really got her working boots on and went to TNA. So look, is it a good match? No. Is it a bad one? Not so much. But I'd say if you're interested to see a young Victoria, it's not a bad match. Trish Stratus is obviously phenomenal.
Yeah.
The Big Show defeated Brock Lesnar. You think this match would be good, right?
You would think.
Christopher?
You would think.
It's not. It's not. It's 4 minutes. It's 4 minutes. And the story here is that Brock Lesnar can't beat the Big Show, which is total nonsense. But how times change as well, right? So like Brock had just debuted. He had run through everything, defeated The Rock, etc. And it would be a couple of months before he'd leave WWE, actually, because he'd leave probably within a year and a half. And they fed all these stars to him. Big Show shows up. It's his biggest rival. Can't get the job done. And it's just like, oh, okay, fair enough. And you could feel the crowd being beaten down by this card. You really can. When you're going back and watching it, it's just like, oh man, you need to give these people something, you know? The next match is the best match on the card that isn't the Elimination Chamber match, because the next guys that we have were part of the SmackDown 6. Now, I don't know if you know what the SmackDown 6
I've heard the term
Chris.
before, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll try dig it out. Many years ago, myself and Gary did a show all about the SmackDown 6 and what it was, and I'll dig it in the archives and I'll post it up on the feed so you guys can check it out. But basically, it's the 6 guys who were carrying SmackDown during this time period. Eddie, Chavo can be included in that. Edge, Mysterio, Kurt Angle, Benoit. They were the guys who were week to week putting on the best matches throughout the company. Paul Heyman was the booker, and you can really see it. I mean, like, this was a triple threat elimination tag team match. Should have been garbage. No reason to watch it. But there was, because the guys in there were top of their game, putting on an absolute 20-minute classics. And, you know, Eddie and Chavo won. Everyone went home happy. It's probably the best match on the card. And that's saying a lot because we had the Elimination Chamber right after it.
Yeah.
So, Christopher, this is the one you did watch.
Yes, it is.
So, any thoughts before we get into it?
I did notice when I saw the card, I was looking who all was in there, and I'm like, everybody in this match except for one guy is in the Hall of Fame currently. This is a stacked Hall of Fame match, except for Jericho, obviously.
That's true. RVD went into it 2-3 years ago, right?
Yeah, so along with Kane. I had to look it up. I'm like, am I wrong? And I know Triple H is in there like twice with Evolution and DX. Ric Flair's, Ric Flair. We got Kane's in there, Booker T, Rob Van Dam, and Shawn Michaels is in there like 4 times. I exaggerate, but he's in there quite a bit. So
no, he's legitimately in it like 3 times.
Yeah, by himself, DX, and I forget
the match with Brett.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, the match with Brett.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, so you make a joke, but the joke is true. Yeah, man, but like it is a stacked card for this match. Surprising as well. I haven't seen this match nearly as much as I thought I did. It was during my own break from WWE. I was watching, but I wasn't like heavily invested. This time for me, and I'll check back with you in a second to see if your experience matches mine. After the invasion, a lot of people walked away from WWE. This one specifically, I remember watching when the NWO showed up.
Yeah.
And then after WrestleMania, I was like, that's why I actually went back and watched 2002, 2003, 2004. It wasn't until 2005 with the One Night Stand pay-per-view and the Rise and Fall of ECW, that documentary, that I actually went back and watched WWE at around that time I started watching TNA. But yeah, like there was some really cool stuff going on, but I actually missed this because I didn't see it at the time. I wasn't watching.
Yeah, that makes sense. And for me, like I said, I didn't stop watching until right about the summer of 2003 when I got deployed. But yeah, that invasion storyline, if they had just waited another year or two, they could have had all of the actual WCW people in there, because most of the guys and girls that were in WCW were still under contract, so they could not participate. So when the invasion storyline happened, we got a lot of the mid to low card guys. It didn't have the same oomph that it should have had you had the NWO and Goldberg and all these top guys. We got people, we just got a bunch of mid carders. It's like, no.
Well, here's what's wild. You know who debuted on this show?
I don't.
So I said Matt Hardy didn't come out to save his brother. He did come out to cut a heel promo with Christopher Nowinski halfway through the show, and they got interrupted by Scott Steiner.
Oh my God.
Scott Steiner debuted on this show, and it wasn't good. But yeah, like Scott Steiner had a terrible run in WWE, and oh my God, it's really bad. And what makes it worse is if you guys go back and have a look at our feed, we did a WCW arc where we went back and watched the WCW shows, like the last shows before it closed, and Scott Steiner was the best thing on it. Like not only on the mic, but I mean like actually in the ring. The guy was on top of his game around this time, and WWE just couldn't make it work. So here's the thing. You'd think if you have a guy like that showing up and he wasn't signed anywhere, he was still a free agent, put him in your main match. Give him Kane's spot or Booker T's spot or Jericho's spot or even RVD's spot. It's like, Shawn Michaels going to win. He's setting up his feud with Triple H. That's fair. But you can pop in Scott Steiner and he can feud with any of those guys. He can replace any of those guys. I just don't know what they were thinking. They were probably thinking, we need to put the belt on Triple H and then get him to feud with Scott Steiner and go over in two of the worst matches you'll ever see. But that's a different story for another day. But anyway, going back to the match. Set up by Eric Bischoff. Eric Bischoff apparently invented the Elimination Chamber. By the way, I love the kayfabe of this.
Yeah.
I really do. I'm like, I love the fact that like Eric Bischoff comes out, cuts the little promo, and it's just like, nah, man, you were never this creative. But in my head canon, he still created this match.
Yeah.
So we have also Saliva showed up on this a lot. The band Saliva.
Yep.
And I like the song Always, but I never want to see Saliva perform. That weird performance they had, I think it was for Jericho.
Yeah.
I thought my computer broke because it wasn't Jericho's actual music. It was Saliva playing. I'm like, ooh, that's real bad. Never do that again. And I don't think they did. But yeah, I don't miss WWE having randos alter the music. Even though the I was expecting like different music because the licensing can be kind of weird, but Saliva must have been like, you can use this song forever, which means they were better than like, better businessmen, like worse businessmen than Limp Bizkit, Fear Factory, Kid Rock. When you watch some shows and they've overdubbed with like the weird little garage music, and it's just like, oh no, Saliva, they're like, yeah, you can have this forever. No matter how much money you make on it. So that was just something that I found pretty funny. But the match itself, I actually really enjoyed. I thought it was nicely paced. The eliminations I would have done a little bit different. There was no reason for RVD to be eliminated first, Booker T to be like very quickly after him. But I get at the time they weren't really big stars. They still had the invasion stink on them, I guess. Yeah. But like, if you think where these guys would go, Booker T obviously is a much bigger star than Kane and RVD, and he wasn't treated very well.
No.
But you have to look this at in context as well. Kane Kane looked pretty good in this, I have to say. He was still able to move around super quick. Still had the whole monster thing, but I think this really started kicking off well, and we really got to see what they were trying to do here when Triple H and Shawn Michaels were kind of alone. After Jericho was gone.
And not just that, but Triple H got busted open fairly quickly in this match too. So
yes, he bled everywhere.
Yeah,
bled everywhere. And this would come off the tail of Shawn Michaels coming back to WWE in SummerSlam 2002 with the really, really good unsanctioned match. If you haven't seen that, Christopher and listeners, definitely do check out that match. That's actually really, really good. This is the start of Shawn Michaels' second run, which, in my personal opinion, I think is better than his actual run. I know it's controversial. I don't really care. That's what I think about when I think Shawn Michaels.
Well, it's, I was like, he found his smile. That's what it was. He lost his smile. He left. He came back. He found it. It was the last place he looked for it.
That was it. Like when I was a kid, like 8, 9, even younger, Shawn Michaels had left. And I was just like, okay, I don't care that much. And then he'd show up as the commissioner sometimes. You're like, oh, it's that guy. And then it wasn't until like around now, 2002, where I was just like, oh, Shawn Michaels, okay, fair enough. Oh, he's actually a good wrestler. Let's go, because you would have watched some of the shows or whatever. But, when I was a kid, it was just like, oh, the guy that got beaten up by Austin and who left DX. It wasn't until I was a bit older and I started watching and then understood Shawn Michaels. I went back and watched it. I was just like, okay, fair enough. Yeah, he was a proper big deal and obviously one of the innovators. But this is what I think about, and this is what I have some kind of like connection towards with Shawn Michaels is actually this time period, because you actually got to see him mix it up in a way that you wouldn't think. Like up until this point, up until the unsanctioned match, my best childhood memory of Shawn Michaels was being the referee with The Rock and Triple H.
Oh, yeah.
Where he cost The Rock the championship at Judgment Day, which is a really cool moment. But if people were to ask, what's your favorite Shawn Michaels moment, it's that one. Which is weird because most people would pick his Iron Man match or whatever. It's like, no, I mean, when I grew up, that was my first real exposure to Shawn Michaels that made an impact. It wasn't Austin beating him for the title. I was like, because again, I was a kid and I was more just happy to see Austin win more than anything else. And this run would continue all the way up. Like, it would be unbroken until The Undertaker would retire him, which is crazy, really, when you think about it. So Shawn Michaels had like a whole career after he retired, and this match started it all. So I'm glad to give him the World Championship. It's crazy because he'd only win the World Championship this one time and he wouldn't hold it again. I don't think he ever won the World Championship or WWE Championship for that matter after this. This is his last run.
I think he had a tag title with John Cena if we're counting titles, but other than that, I don't think he did.
Yeah, no, he did. He had but that was because they were feuding at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
That was the whole thing, they're enemies. But he never held, and he'd have a tag run with DX and stuff. But like, as far as the belt, nah, this was it. Yeah. And it's weird because you're like, it's one of those facts that you hear and you're like, nah, that sounds wrong. And you're like, no, that's true. If you look at it, he never held that belt again after this. And it wasn't even that big of a run. It's like 2 months. Triple H would have it again by Royal Rumble. So
yeah,
it's definitely a good match.
It was a great
historic match for like a historic match too, man. I mean, like I'm conflicted because it's like it is such a cool match to see. It's such a cool spectacle. It's one of those matches that still hasn't lost its. I was going to say it hasn't lost its smile. Like the Hell in a Cell, but like I think it's breaking it off into its own pay-per-view. I don't agree with. I like this where it's like you don't know when it's coming. But then War Games has done that as well, where you only get it once a year, with that Survivor Series. But like, definitely they needed something like this. Survivor Series was a dying show.
Yeah.
Without something like this. So And even with it, like, this show is a D-, and it's fully saved by the last two matches.
Yeah.
So if you want to find it, actually, one thing as well. So you watch this on Netflix, as did I. I hate the Netflix way of finding this, where they're like, you go to Survivor Series and you find by season, and you have to go down to the year. It's just like,
yeah,
come on.
I missed the network. I missed the 9.99 days.
Oh, the network was great.
It was.
It really was. We didn't know what we had. We did not know it. We didn't appreciate it. We badmouthed it too much.
Yes, we did.
Shame on all of us. But that's going to do it for us today. Christopher, thank you so much, sir. Very much appreciate it. Wish you a happy birthday.
Thank you, sir.
And I hope it's a good one. Anything you want to plug before we get out of here?
Just my podcast. We have new episodes every Monday at noon Central Standard Time. It's called The Jazz Zodiac Podcast. We talk Raw, SmackDown, and any news that we feel relevant. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and the video portion on YouTube. Like, subscribe, follow, and give us some comments so we have something else to talk about.
Absolutely. If you are not following them, go do it now. You have no excuse. Guys, if this is your first time checking us out, please do like, share, subscribe. Spread the word of the podcast. Share with your friends. Share with your enemies. It doesn't matter. Leave comments below. Let us know what you thought about anything that we said. And of course, we'll be back next week on the only wrestling podcast by fans who don't hate wrestling. We'll see you then.
Thank you for listening to a Nerd to Know Media production.